What is the absolute worst game you ever played? Maybe you thought of a game that was disappointing, or maybe you thought of a game that is filled with bugs and glitches. Although a few games I personally don't really like came to mind, I decided to find the definitive answer. I found a list of the top 100 lowest rated games on Steam, and I'm going to play them all to find out which game I personally think is the worst. Now, let's spin the wheel and get ready to go dumpster diving. Cities XXL? Cool. Let's get right into it. Wow, this game just jumps right into it, huh? Something is definitely happening here. I don't know what it is, but it looks exciting. Once we get to the main menu where it looks like our protagonist is trying to jump to his death, we get asked if we want to go to the tutorial mode. Since the last time I played a management game like this was Zoo Tycoon, I figured I might need some help. Once we load in the tutorial, I get bombarded with messages that just randomly disappear before getting into the story. We are an unnamed intern who is working under the city's mayor, John. Since John is a moron, we instead are taught how to play by his assistant Kevin, who looks just like Megamind if he actually tried growing out his facial hair. Our first task is to follow the road until we reach the greenhouse. Simple enough if the game didn't spawn me on the opposite side of the map. The controls in this game aren't too bad. Aside from using the arrow keys instead of W, A, S, and D, I found the game to feel a lot more intuitive than I thought it would. It took me a little bit of time to get used to, like when you have to click twice on a road to build it, or remembering which parts of the menus you have to go to when you want to see different statistics, but I grew accustomed to it fairly quickly. The only issue I had was with zoning the areas. Sometimes I would designate a spot for buildings and they would fit neatly into the area I designed, other times they would leave this extra space that was filled in by trees. This isn't too bad on its own, but when your buildings are constantly skewed in this random areas, it makes it much harder to build a city. I went through with the rest of the mission before the game taught me that I could actually zoom into first person mode. This is a really cool idea. I love being able to see what the people of my city see. I can see each of the buildings firsthand and all of their blurry wonder. I can see the joy on all of my citizens' faces as they walk through the town and sink into the sidewalk. I can see twins dancing with the random hot dog man. And where else can you find a kid playing hopscotch and a lady miming away on a bench before they suddenly disappear before your very eyes? The tutorials go on for a while longer before I just decide to play the main game. I don't feel like spending another hour on tutorial missions while having this creepy face staring at me the entire time. I want to prove to the world that I have what it takes to be a leader. I pick a map with a volcano and a lake because apparently it's easy and fertile, and begin building the city of Solaria. The base gameplay is very simple. You have your money and growth in the top left, the various methods to gauge your population's needs and wants on the right hand side, and on the top right you can get a quick glance into how the different groups of people and industries are doing. To start, you have to build a road to the outside world and create a town hall and some utilities. From there, you'll want to build houses for your workers and places for them to work like stores and hotels. Eventually you'll be able to build additional buildings like hospitals, but that's pretty much it for now. Honestly, I got bored of the game extremely quickly. Until you grow your population to the different markers, you don't have too much to do in this game. If you need more population or more workers, you build houses. If you need more money or to lower unemployment rates, you build more businesses. From what I could tell, there's not that much variation in the different types of buildings you can make. You can't really decide which specific stores you want to make, you just designate an area for shops and the game decides which ones to load in. Don't get me wrong though, there are some aspects of this game that I genuinely think are awesome. The game incentivizes creating multiple cities that all can interact with each other. You can make each city unique by focusing on what the environment gives you without trying to produce every single product. There's a Steam workshop that allows users to make content for the game, and even though there aren't many items on the workshop, I still think it's a cool idea to include. I also do love the first person mode. Being able to see your city from the ground level is a really cool way to make the player feel involved, even if it's not exactly polished. But the entire time I was playing this game, I just felt like nothing mattered since there was no challenge. Sometimes the game wants things from you that you can't do. I was constantly warned about needing high-tech industries and executives to work in my hospitals when I didn't have either unlocked. When you start to lose money, you might get a warning message or two, but you never go bankrupt. Believe me, I tried. Even doing well in this game doesn't feel satisfying. When you hit a milestone, it's not like there's a whole bunch of fanfare or celebration. Instead, you just get told that you unlocked a couple new buildings and that's it. From what I could tell, there's no natural disasters, there's no threat of going bankrupt and losing your city, and there's just nothing enticing me to keep playing, so I stopped. Looking at the reviews for this game, almost all the negative reviews come from the first month the game came out, and each review pretty much talks about one of two things, either the game runs poorly, or the fact that it's pretty much a repeat of Cities XL. In my opinion, I never noticed any performance issues when I was playing the game. This could be because the game was optimized in the time that it came out, or it could be that I didn't get far enough into the game to where it actually started having issues. As for the game being a repeat of Cities XL, that's pretty accurate. The first game in this series was called City Life, which was apparently the first modern building game to allow the player to work in a full 3D environment. The game came out to generally positive reviews, which led to the developers Monte Cristo creating a sequel called Cities Unlimited. This name changed to Cities XL and was originally planned to be a live service game. Players who paid a subscription fee could build cities on the planet. This allowed them to trade with other players and build community projects together like the Eiffel Tower. The idea lasted for about 3 months before Monte Cristo announced that they were closing the service due to low subscription rate. The multiplayer for Cities XL closed in March of 2010, and Monte Cristo shut down 2 months later due to poor sales. After a couple months, Focus Home Interactive acquired the Cities XL franchise and released Cities XL 2011 in October of 2010. Then, Focus Home Interactive released Cities XL 2012 in October of 2011, Cities XL Platinum in February 2013, and Cities XXL in February of 2015. At first, it seemed like the developers were actually improving on the game. Cities XL 2011 introduced more maps and buildings and improved on the tax systems, trading, and public transport options. But when you get to Cities XXL, the only improvements are supposedly enhanced logic, which is questionable, a couple new buildings, and a new UI. If that's all you're adding to the game after 2 years, why is it the same price as all of the other games in the franchise? Cities XXL just feels like a soulish cash grab. I don't think the game was bad, I just thought it was boring. It does have a few interesting ideas though, which is why it's better than Audubon Police Simulator, but not by much. Anyway, I hope to see you all in the next episode of Dumpster Diving. Peace out.